Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Piyush and this is video number 11 in the series 28 days of easy Terraform. In this video, we'll be looking into inbuilt functions in Terraform that we have. We'll be not just looking into, we'll be doing a lot of practice, we'll be looking into assignments, and I'll be leaving some tasks for you in the GitHub repository so that you can also practice on your own. And we'll be having close to 12 assignment tasks for this video, so it could be a long video. Have some patience, and if you want, you can pause the video and try it out yourself after just looking at the assignment question, or you can do side by side, whatever you feel comfortable with, right? So without wasting any time, let's start with the video. So this is the Terraform documentation that we'll be referring from time to time. So we have functions over here, right? There are different type of functions. We have numeric functions. Those work on the numeric values. Let's say we have multiple values. We have to find the max out of it or min out of it, or the absolute value, seal, floor, all those, logs. Those works on the numeric data type. Then we have string function that work on strings, right? Like to remove the end line character, or to trim the string, or to join the string, and all of those. And then we have collection functions, similarly, which works on collections such as map, list, set, and so on. And then we have some other functions and coding file system and so on. So we'll be mostly looking into numeric, string, collection, file system, and type conversion. You won't be using much of hash and crypto functions and date and time functions. Yes, this is also what we'll be looking into. Okay, so let me show you the GitHub repository. So I have created another folder in the same repository with the name 11 functions, and there'll be an assignment.md file. I'll also share the solution.md file, but I would suggest practicing yourself before you go into looking at the solutions. Let's have a look at the nitty gritty way of how we can practice Terraform without even writing the file. So I'm just gonna open my VS Code. Here it is. Okay, I'm in day 10. Let's go to day 11 folder. Basically, I haven't copied anything, but let me copy some file from day 10. I need backend, provider. Yeah, I guess backend and provider should be good for now. Rest will be creating. So day 11, and then I'm gonna paste it over here. So let's go to day 11 and run tf init to initialize the backend. Okay, it will initialize the remote backend for us because we have used the backend.tf file. Now let's create one file with the name main.tf. Okay, now let's go back and let's see. It says practice these fundamentals command in Terraform console before practicing the assignment or before starting the assignment. So what we can do is we can write Terraform console, this command, and hit enter, and it will open a command line shell for you, so you can practice the Terraform functions over here directly, right? So as I've told you, there are multiple functions. So let's say we need to find the max number out of an available list, right? So let's say max, and then 2 4 1, right? That's it, and hit enter. So max is 4, right? It's pretty simple. Like how would you do in any programming language? Like, why do we need functions? Because you don't have to write the logic every time. You can just use the pre-built function to do some calculation, to do some manipulations. And it's not just for one data type, it's available for many data types. So you can have a look at that. um, Plus, Terraform does not support custom function. That means you cannot create your own functions, so you are only restricted with the built-in functions that we have. Okay, so the same way we can find the main value, 2 5 3 should be 2, right? Okay, now if we need to remove the blank spaces from a string, so you can use trim. So this is a string function. So let's say I have added a space, and let's say hello, and then another space. It says not enough function argument, trim expect 2 argument. Okay, so what we need to trim, I guess we have to provide the string. So let's see. Oh, okay, it has to be inside the, not like this, it has to be inside the double quotes, because we are providing this as a string, right? So it will be removing that from the string. It says, maybe I have pasted the wrong example, so let's see the documentation. Let's see, numeric function, it should not be in numeric, it should be in string. Where is trim? Okay, here it is. Okay, so this is how we do. Oh, we trim actually a subset of string from it. Every occurrence of a character in the second argument is removed. Okay, from start to end. Okay, this is not what I was telling you before, my bad. So what we do, you have to provide two arguments because that's what it says. Okay, so first is hello, and then the second string is, let's say, comma, and whatever character we write over here, it will be removed from the first string. So let's say I write LO. Okay, enter. Now it removed L and O. So multiple occurrence of L has been removed, O has been removed. So that's how trim works. It will remove the substring. So this is the substring. It will remove it from the main string. Okay. Now the next one is, I'll make the changes over here. Next one is chomp. So if you do chomp and let's say hello slash n 𝗓𝗃𝗍𝗃. Okay, it did not do anything because I might not have used the correct backslash. Okay, so it removed. So slash n is the is the end of the line character, and it has removed that when we use the chomp function. Okay, then we have reverse. So for reverse, as the name suggests, it will reverse the order of the characters, right? So let's say if I'm doing CBA with that one attribute access. Okay, it has to be inside the list of elements. So let's add this. Okay, so now it has reversed from CBA to ABC. Why? Because it's a list, it has to be inside the square brackets. Okay, I'm also practicing it for the first time, like as from the console. So there are some mistake and I'm not gonna edit it because I want you to know what mistakes can be made and how to recover from it. Okay, now this is like how do we test it from Terraform console. Okay, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Now let's begin with the assignments. Let's begin with creating these tasks in the actual Terraform file. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee before that. Okay, so the first scenario is we'll be using the function lower and replace. I'll show you what that is. Now your company requires all resources to be lowercase and replace spaces with hyphen, right? So if the resource name is something like this, project alpha resource, it has to be replaced with project hyphen alpha hyphen resource. That means the spaces has to be replaced with hyphen and there should be no uppercase. So this uppercase has been changed to lowercase. Okay, so now there are some directions that you can follow. Okay, first let's create a variable project name with the given output. Okay, so I'm gonna create a file over here and name it variables.tf. Okay, let's call it project, oops, not like that, variable project name. Okay, type should be string, and let's add the description, name of the project, Let's add a default value as well so that we can test our scenario. So let's add the same one. Okay, now let's go back to main.tf and let's create a resource in which we'll be using this Azure RM resource group. Okay, name of the resource group is, let's call it RG. Am I making a mistake? Why? Oh, I forgot the resource keyword. It's really early morning time for me. Okay. So Azure RM resource group RG. Okay, so let's give it the name. Name is, let's use the variable that we have, var.project name -rg. Okay, it says it required location attribute. Yes, we'll be giving that. So let's give it location as US East 1. Okay, now no definition found for var project name maybe I forgot to save the file. No, it's auto saved. Okay, let's see. Variable project name var.project -name. Let's not use this directly because we have to make some changes, right? We have to make those manipulations as well. So let's use a local first. I'm gonna create a locals. Let's call it formatted name. Okay, and what we need to do now, we need to do two operations. One is the string has to be in lowercase. The second is we have to replace spaces with hyphen. So let's do the formatting first. Okay, let's do replace, okay, var dot project name, okay, and then replace comma. So it has three arguments. The replace has three arguments. First is the string or the variable in which we need to make the change, and second is the old value, which is space, and the third is the new value, which is hyphen. Okay, so this should replace your string in the format that we want, but we have not made the changes for the uppercase yet. But over here now we can use var.formatted name. Okay, and we need to make sure that we are using, oh no, not var dot, it's not in var, it's in local now. So local dot formatted name -rg. I guess it has to be inside. We need to concatenate these two. So let me see how we can do that. Okay, I'll have a look at this later on, like how do we update it. So give me some time for that. But for now, let's continue with this. So, and let's use the location as a valid location. Let's see, West US 2. Now let's just run an output first and let's see. So output and name is your RG name. Value should come from this name. So var dot not project name, var dot, oh, not var dot Azure RM resource group dot RG dot name. Okay, so I'm gonna exit the console and run Terraform plan. Okay, so it says project -alpha -resource. So it has replaced the spaces with hyphen. Now the next part is we have to, now in the same string we have to make it in lowercase. So I'm just gonna put brackets out of that, so everything should go inside a function definition. So let's use lower, and that's it. So whatever string is there inside this, it will change it to lower. Save and run the Terraform plan again. Okay, now it says project alpha resource, everything is in lowercase and separated by hyphen. So that was our first assignments. Just give me a second. Okay, now let's see how we can concatenate this. So it has to go inside, like everything has to go inside this double quotes, and then because this we have to find a value of it, so this has to go inside dollar and curly braces like this. Now this should work, so it should name as -rg. Now resource group name. Okay, project alpha resource rg. So this is the resource group name. Okay, this is fine. The first part is done. Let's move on to the next one, which is, let me show you the GitHub, it will be easier. Okay, the resource tagging. So we'll be using the function merge, and the scenario is you have multiple tags. So there is default tags. This is a map, as you can see, and there is another map which is environment tag, right? You have to merge those using the local, again merge them with appropriate function and apply them to a resource group. Okay, so let's copy this input first. We'll be using these as the variables, right? So let's go back, and inside variables.tf, let's create another variable. Okay, let's give it a name, variable default tags. Okay, and remove these ones. Wait, am I missing something? Okay, it, because this is of type map, right? So type is equal to map, and we have to provide value. Value should be inside curly braces. Okay, I think there is some mistake with this. No, not value, it should be default. Okay, now it's perfect. Now let's do the same for environment. Variable environment tags, and let's remove these, and inside this we have type is equal to map of string. Let's use that as well, map of string, map of string, and then default is equal to inside the curly brackets. Okay, is there some mistake? Okay, okay, so we have both the map variables. We have to now merge it and use it in the resource group. So let's go back to main.tf. Over here, let's add tags. Okay, tags using the merge function. Okay, now with merge, I don't remember the syntax, but let's try it out. Merge var dot default tags comma var dot environment tags. Let's see if this is gonna work. TF plan. Okay, let's see what tags did it apply. Okay, so it has all 4 tags. It has merged it successfully. So that's what we wanted to do. So this is done. Or what you can do that, because if you were to use these values at multiple places, so what you can do that, let's create another local over here so that you don't have to create the merge again and again. So let's call it merge tags. Okay, merge tags equal to, and let's merge it over here. Okay, now we have merged it over here, and over here we can just use local dot merge tags. This will be pretty clean. Okay, So now there is a local that's been created for you. You can use this local at multiple places now instead of calling the merge function again and again. It will just slow down the process and will take the resources. Okay. This was the task 2, and let's go back to the next one, which is task 3, storage account naming. So Azure storage account must be less than 24 characters and only use lowercase letters and numbers. Right, so this is the requirement. Maximum length 23 characters, all lowercase, no special characters. Okay, let's say if we are using this as the storage account, I mean this should be the storage account name, but it has to do all the validation. Now it says it create a function to process the storage account name, blah 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 blah, and so on. Okay, so let's first take the storage account resource from here. It does not have it. I guess it will be part of the previous videos. So day 9, or you can take it from the Terraform documentation. That's okay too. So let's take it from here and we'll make the changes. Okay, I don't want life cycle for now. Let's remove this. We've already seen it multiple times. We don't need count for this. We don't need for each. Just use the name. And let's remove this as well. Okay, now we need to do the validations for that. So okay, let's create a variable over here. Variable storage account name and type is string. Default is, let's give it a default value that is invalid. That means that is more than 24 characters and has some special characters, hyphen, spaces, and whatever. So let's call it tech tutorials. Let's give it spaces as well and some special characters, and make sure it is greater than 24 characters. This should be formatted. Okay, now go back to main.tf. Now we can, okay, there are two names. Now we can directly use var.storage account name, but it will throw the error. We want to do the error handling before we run the Terraform commands, right? So let's create a local again over here, and let's give it the name storage formatted. Let's call it that, and the name should be var.storage account name. Now we need to do the formatting in that. So we'll use a function called substring, I guess. Okay, and substring, if you see, it has string, offset number, and length number. Okay, so what are those? So we'll be using 0, 23. That means 23 is the maximum, 0 is the minimum, and that's use that and see what's gonna happen now. And over here we'll be using, instead of var, we'll be using local dot storage formatted. Okay, and let's create, okay, we don't need this, so instead of this as well, let's use local dot merge tags and create an output variable over here with the name storage name, and value should be from the storage account. So Azure rm storage account dot example dot name. Okay, let's run tf plan now. Okay, it says it's not been declared. Maybe let's see. Okay, so this resource group is not correct. So rg, and this is rg because we copied the file from another video, so that's okay. Local dot merge is a map of string. It says incorrect attribute type tags equal to. It did not throw error for when we use the same tag in over here, but why it is throwing it in this? Okay, because we are specifying it as a map. Okay, so it should be tags equal to, oh yeah, we cannot initialize map inside a map. Okay, so this one, and let's remove this one as well. Okay, tf plan. Okay, now it is throwing the error that this can only consist of lowercase letters and numbers and must be between 3 and 24 characters long. See, we have trimmed down the string to 24 characters, but we have not taken care of spaces and the other thing, right? So for that, okay, let's see what was the question. So all lowercase and no special characters, lowercase letters and numbers. So we can change it to lower as well. Where was it? Okay, let's change it to lower and to a function nesting over here, function inside a function. So if there were no okay, let's keep some of the uppercase as well to test this. And next is there should only be functions, so we need to remove the spaces as well. So let's remove the spaces by using replace, and this is the first string, the second is space. Okay, and space should be removed with, like, we have to just trim the spaces, right? So I guess we can use trim over here. Yeah, let's just use trim instead of this. 1 2, okay, so instead of replace, let's use trim. Okay, let's see if this is the correct syntax. Trim expect two arguments. No, trim is for, okay, cutting down the string with the occurrence of a character. So we can use it to remove the special characters, comma, let's see, this one @# okay, just try to add special characters and let's see. Let's use the trim again. Okay, now it's still throwing the error because what name it has taken. Now it still is taking this character. So let's try this again. Okay, so for trim we'll see later on, but let's try to remove the spaces first. How did we remove the spaces earlier? We did the replace. Okay, so let's remove space with just a null character. Let's see if this gonna work. Okay, now it removed everything, just the special character, and that is why it is throwing the error. So let's see how do we remove the special character from anything. Okay, so let's say so they have used trim and to remove these things, but why it is not working for us? Let's try to test this in Terraform console. So if we have a string with, let's say, hello at the rate exclamation, and if we use that in the second part of it as well, yeah, it is removing it from here. Now if we add it over here, trim, I've added a lot of functions, but you can create separate variables for each of those. So comma, and let's add this. Now if we run Terraform plan again, okay, it's still not removing it. Maybe because it just remove it from the start and end of the string. Okay, that's what we were doing wrong. Okay, so let's see. There should be some other replace, or we can do the string replacement, right? We can replace it with a null character. Let's try that. So let's add another replace, and remove this with a null character. So there are multiple ways you can do that. Try it out, whatever works for you. Okay, so now this time it works. It removed the spaces. So the value that we have taken was this. You see, it has uppercase characters. It has a string which is larger than 25 characters. It has spaces. It has special characters. It has removed everything because we have used multiple functions to do that. This is a good assignment task to practice all of these functions on string, and we did that in one single line. Yes, so we did multiple iterations of it, but yeah, I'm not an expert. Yeah, right. So yeah, so that was the assignment number 3. Let's move ahead. Okay. Okay, now we have assignment number 4, network security group rule. So the function is split and join. That's what we need to use. Transform a comma separated list of ports into a specific format for documentation. So wherever the ports are these, change it to, let's say, port 80, port 443, port, like the name of the security group rule. Okay, so port has to be added as a prefix along with a hyphen. Okay, it should be pretty simple, right? So let's take the security group rule from here. Okay, and let's paste it in day 11. Okay, now, okay, so let's create a variable over here. Let's call it variable allowed ports, and type is list, I guess, of string. It's not a string, it's number. Okay, and the default value is, let's give 80 443 3306 and so on. Okay, and inside main.tf, now let's create a local to make the changes over there. So we call it formatted ports. Okay, and let's use var.allowed ports, but we have to split the ports, right? Separated by comma. So we're gonna use a split function over here, and first argument was the string. Actually it works on the string, so we gonna change it to type string. It should also work because it's just gonna treat this as a one single string. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so var.allowed ports and with comma. Okay, that's how we're gonna split the format number. Now let's create another one with this NSG rules. Okay, and let's like we have to iterate through multiple values, so we'll be using for loop. Okay, for rules in local.nsg rules. Okay, because sorry, not nsg rules, local dot formatted rules, the one that we have just created above, formatted ports. Okay, then inside the curly brackets will be defining the name of every port or every rule. The name should be, port hyphen and then the name of the port, like number of the port. Let's use this port for simplicity. Okay, so dot, and then inside this it will be port. So we've already seen this is how we concatenate multiple variables into one. So name is this, and then there'll be port. Port is equal to port. Instead of that, let's use join. That's what I'm thinking. No, it like for loop is good, but we have to join that as well, right? Because we have to add hyphen. So okay, let's remove this. For local inside ports, and it should be port hyphen dollar port. Okay, and then there is we have to put inside the square bracket because this is all part of for loop. Okay, and then we also have to add the join with this for loop. So let's use a join, and with hyphen comma the value inside the for loop, and we have to end it like this, colon. Okay, I think this is correct. Now what it will show for ports in local dot formatted port. So let's say first it goes through it and it check what do we have in local dot formatted port. Let's say first it found 80. Okay, so now the value of port is 80. So it should print port hyphen 80, and then it will join it with hyphen. Okay, let's try this. I'm not sure. And okay, then after that we have to make the changes over here. So okay, let's remove this, and let's use the same syntax that we used over here for security for the resource group. Local dot formatted name. I know it's an error. I'm fixing it. Wait, and then nsg. Okay, so that's the name, location, and then we have a dynamic block. Now not nsg rules, the other one, which is, oh yeah, it's nsg rules, so that's good. Name is the key, and okay, let's see what will it print. Now we have to provide output of, let's use both nsg rules, which is value is equal to local dot nsg rules, and another output which is of name, security rule name. Security name, okay, value is equal to Azure RM security group dot example dot name. Okay, Let's run Terraform plan. Let's take a sip of coffee before it throws the error. Okay, it did. Invalid dynamic for each. It says local NSG rules is a string. Okay. Local NSG rules cannot use string value in for each. Yeah, because we know that it's not but we used for loop. But when we use join, I don't think we actually need join over here because we are actually adding that hyphen. Let's try without this. Because when we use join, it converted that into a string. Oh, it was a string before as well. Okay, now it throws another error which says security group port. It's not actually changing the value of it for port in local.formatted ports. Allowed ports are, let's say, 84433306. We split that using comma. So now in the formatted ports, it's 8443 with like separate string, and now we are running it as a for loop for port in local.formatted ports, and it should be port hyphen port. It should be NSG rules. It should go inside NSG rules. Now over here, if we go local.nsg rules, which is port hyphen that, right? Port hyphen 80. So it should come port hyphen 80 over here. But okay, so it's throwing the value for priority and for everything else, not for name. Okay, because that's what we have used it over here, right? Okay, it's still throwing some errors, so it looks like these values are not getting populated. Okay, it says security.value.description and with the port as well. And if you see over here NSG rules, this port value is not coming properly. So first let's fix that. So this port is not getting populated, so let's do a traverse back over here. So this port is coming from where? From here for ports in, and then it is coming from local.formatted ports, which is this one. Okay, and over here we entered the value by splitting the string. Now if we see the syntax of split function, it says separator string and then the string, but we have used it other way around. So you see, we first use the string and then the separator string. That's why it is printing comma instead of, it is splitting with comma instead of that. So let's change it. Let's change the order of it. Okay, and add a comma over here. Now this should be okay. Now let's run the Terraform plan again. There are still some issues, but we're gonna fix it. So now you see it says security.value is this, but description is not populated. Security.value is this, but okay, it's throwing the error for description. It is throwing the error for port, and let's see if it took the name correct or not. Yeah, because it is just setting this as a string of port 80, but we need to use multiple values. We are using for each, and we need name, port, description, and so on, right? So we cannot use one single value and assign it to NSG rule. We have to iterate through multiple values. So we need a map over here, right? So what we can do is we can convert this into map by doing this, and let's give these names as different variables inside it. So name equal to this, and port is equal to port, okay, because we have already iterating through it. And then description is equal to, let's say, allowed traffic on port, and then the port name, port field can be again taken from here, from the variable, and let's give it a space. Okay, we missing a curly bracket, and I guess that should be it. Now let's try this again. TF plan. Okay, now if you see storage account name is this, security group name is this, NSG, which is project alpha resource -NSG, which is coming correct. Now this is what we are mostly interested in. We use 3 ports, remember, 80, 443 and 3306. So the first description is allowed traffic on port 80, allowed traffic on port 443, this is, and then port -80, which is for port 80, port -443 is the name. So this is coming as correct now. This is what we wanted as part of this particular assignment over here. So it should have come. So there is some mistake in the required output. So ignore that for now. I'll correct that. But it should be port -80 as the name of the port where the port is 80, and all of the things that we have seen. Okay, now we have assignment 5, but we have already gone over 50 minutes for this video. So I guess it's a good time to take a break now, and we'll cover the rest of the assignment part in the next video. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you were able to do the assignment from 1 to 4 till now. And it's gonna get easy from here, because now that we have seen the format, now that we have seen how to use function and all those things. So make sure you do the practice, make sure you do the assignment by yourself. Don't just copy the code and try to execute it. Try to understand each and every part of what we have seen. It could take time. It took me 50 minutes to just do the 4 assignments, because I was also doing it for the first time. But make sure you do that practice whatever time it takes. Okay, and let me know if you face any issues. I will see you soon with the next video with the rest of the assignment solutions, and have a good day. Happy learning.